The mornings are the easiest. In the morning, when we wake up and our little villa has 10-foot ceilings, the openness of the space in the villa matches the expansiveness of when you step outside into this environment. For me, the mornings are very hopeful here, and there's lots of color and nectar that is delivered to your room, starting with coffee, of course. So the mornings are great. I love waking up here. Every time you wake up here, at least for now, it feels like you're on vacation, right? Then as the day goes on, and we can talk about like a day in my life. A lot of people have been messaging me to tell me what it's like here, like a day in my life. What am I doing? I do want to shoot something on video, but it's so much easier just to tell you. It's so much easier just to talk about instead of filming. But as the day goes by, you try to get into your routines, your work, and heat slowly seeps in, so it gets very humid and hot. For many people, especially if you've lived on the East Coast, humidity is not a big deal. For me, a city boy who grew up in Los Angeles, knows nothing but dry heat. So that is a bit confronting. But then once I get in my golf cart and I start exploring the town, so once I go to the coffee shop, say hi to my new friends there, or go across the street and get my daily sweat in, drive to the beach, take a jump in the ocean. Once that happens, then there is a reminder that where we're at is a gift, right? There is a reminder that this is special. Not just Costa Rica, but the setup is special. It's unique. And it starts to feel, I'm going to say it starts to feel homey. It starts to feel, neighborhoody. Last night we met a couple friends they've been living here for a month, contemplating moving here from Boise. And they have 2 kids. We were watching the sunset, and then we saw them. So we were chatting them up. And I even said this out loud to them because we watched the sunset, the kids were playing. And then we went next door to this little kind of like a food truck area. And we had sushi, and we were just talking about life and what life could look like. And they're on the verge of possibly, like us, leaving the city to move to a place like this. And in that exchange, I had this moment, and I even said to everyone, like, this is what we need, this kind of connection with friends. And this is, at the end of the day, like, that's what's going to make or break, right? Any new community or any new area that you're living in, when you are able to build authentic relationships, friendships, when your kids have friends, then it starts to feel like home. I share that because right now it feels homey, right? It has all the ingredients of what could be an amazing life, community, but it doesn't feel like home yet because we don't have friends here, because we don't have community. Is that a wasp? There's a giant. We do have wasps. Doing these episodes inside a golf cart outside comes with its own surprises. Last time I did this, there was a squirrel that almost jumped on to the roof of this golf cart, and right now I just saw a giant wasp just a foot away from me. Anyway, so that was my revelation last night. It was the fact that I think to turn something that has potential to feel like home to an actual home, you got to make an effort. You got to start establishing friends. You got to build a community. One way to do that is, if you have a child or children, do it through their school. So as Logan goes into school, of course, there's going to be meetings and activities and things for parents. And I think in those spaces, you start to make friends with parents and your kids' friends' parents. This is the same thing that happens, everywhere. This is what happened to us in Altadena as well, right? Some of our friends we met through our children engaging in school. So anyway, that was a great reminder for me last night. So it was like a reminder that, oh, this could feel amazing. This could feel like home, and then also what it takes to actually make it feel like home, right? And that, I think, is a big piece of the pie. Having authentic friends, building a community. The whole point of us renting this kind of like commune villa is to, have that space created much easier, than having one house as we invite friends and family throughout the year. The other revelation is, and this might be a little TMI, but I'm regular here. I'm like, my gut's all fucked up. I get bloated. I'm still bloated here. I'm not gonna lie, but in LA, I was never for years not regular. Like it would be Russian roulette, my bowel movements, and it would be like rabbit pebbles. It would not be like normal, healthy adult stools. And since I've been here, every morning, right when I wake up, all it takes is the nudge of 2 sips of caffeine, and then I'm in the bathroom, and it's been like good. And I think what's important about that, I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, is I think your gut knows things, right? There's proof, there's science behind this, as your gut being your second brain. And I just wrote a blog about this on Substack. If you're less clenched and you're more relaxed, on top of that, maybe there is good bacteria happening in such a rich country. Just rich with everything, right? I'm not saying money. I'm saying rich with just all the flavors of life. Maybe my gut's changing. It's one of the biggest goals I had for myself was move here, have a better diet. My gut changes, my second brain changes, and so I think that what will happen from there is better sleep, less anxiety, and me being regular for the last 2 weeks, which I haven't been in years, to me is a huge light. It's a huge glimmer. It's a nod. It's a nod from my gut saying that you may be in the right place. So that's happening. A day in my life. Okay, here it is on audio. And I will eventually get to making it on video. But it's so much easier just to do a podcast episode or a live because you're just talking. And I just talk like you're in front of me and we're just having coffee. To do something under 90 seconds comes with not only a ticking clock, but I think lined with performance, right? And so I do love the creative expression of video. I went to film school. I'm a visual person, but I have fallen in love with audio more since the explosion of podcasting. I've been podcasting for years. I think my podcast started like 10 years ago. I'm not like one of the first, but I started it pretty early on, as a homage to 90s Christian Slater in Pump Up the Volume. In my garage, unscripted, late nights, just talking into the microphone, right? Hoping at least 2 people are listening. And that spirit of my podcast is still the same, even though more people listen. So in audio, here is a day in the life. Okay. Wake up around 6:30. Logan is either in our bed by now or she jumps into our bed. And I'm going to slow it down because I think part of this is to remind you of moments that we forget to put weight on, right? And so our 5.5-year-old daughter running into our bed, it's a joy. There's a little part of that that feels like Christmas Eve, you know? No, not Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, when you all wake up and, you know, it's like family time and people are jumping on each other and there's presents to open. There's a little bit of that. I think especially when you have one child, or maybe not, maybe if you have multiple children, just children storming into your room in the morning and jumping on you. There's oh, now there's a butterfly in front of me, a giant one. There's some kind of celebration, and maybe it's where I'm at right now, where I'm trying to put more weight on family. I had a therapy session / coaching session myself yesterday, and you know, I was talking about how at 52 and where I'm at in my life, the importance of family. And for 5.5 years, I've had a family. Before that, I'm really bad at math. What's 52 minus 5? Whatever that number is. For that amount of time, I have never had a family. Besides my own family, I've never had a family of my own. And so this idea of having a family, it's still kind of new, you know? I think when we're parents, we are kind of in survival mode and just trying to swim above water, and we're trying to work. We're juggling so many things, right? We're trying to work, we're trying to raise a child, we're learning, we've never done this before, and also we're trying to keep our relationship healthy and afloat. We're also trying to maintain friendships. Like, there's so much happening when you're parenting that you forget the value of having a family, because one of the things that you may feel is that because you now have a family, there's more anxiety, you know? So in a way, having a child or having children, having a family is preventing you from, you know, your own time, your own connection with self, might be preventing you from intimacy with your partner, maybe, you know, might be preventing you from so many things. And so you can easily start to kind of have resentment, even, and that's extreme, of having this family, because the life you had before was about you, and you had so much time, and you know, so it's really easy to not see that as valuable, even though, of course, when you think about your family, of course it's valuable, but just over time, you could just kind of like push it on the side, like put it on the side, right? And you're always trying to fight to do all the things that you're doing before you had children. And so I think one of the resets for me as we're down here is to really soak in, hold with two hands, and appreciate and value family. And can it allow that to come first? And what does that look like? In my session yesterday, I was talking about the struggle of being in between books. And whenever I'm in between books or projects, I panic, I fall into into a slight depression if I'm not feeding my creative brain. One of the reasons why you may be seeing an influx in content and documenting my story is it's actually my way of grabbing it's my way of grabbing the ledge, because if I don't have a creative outlet, I feel like I'm drowning, you know? And of course I have to think about, yeah, I'm working. Oh yeah, oh, there is an iguana next to me. Yeah, I see it, it's cute. Oh, I have to show you this iguana. I don't know if you can see it. Let me just show you this iguana before I continue. And if you're listening on my podcast, you could watch it on YouTube or Spotify. Look at it. Oh, that's my life here. Anyway, in my session yesterday, I was talking about the struggle of being in between books, in between projects. There was potentially a documentary that was supposed to happen that didn't, and so I feel like I'm in the ocean, kind of swimming aimlessly, looking for an island to swim to, or a buoy to hold on to. And so, because of that, I think I've been just doing a lot of content, just documenting, right? And when I think about content, my approach since 2010, since my Tumblr days, they were always, it was always to document. It was always to create a captain's log, a time, a breaded time capsule for myself. For one day when I'm at the end of my life, I can look back and say that, I've captured all these moments in my life. But also, like, because I have a daughter, I've always thought, like, wouldn't it be amazing for when she gets old enough to be interested in her dad and dad's life? She would have so many videos and audio clips of my inner journey of my entire life. I mean, my entire adult life, right? And I was thinking, because my dad's no longer with us, but I don't know a lot about my dad's inner journey. I know I'm bird walking. I'll come back. Throwing a boomerang here at the Angry Therapist, like I do. Some end up in other people's backyards. But I always thought I really never got to know my dad. I got to know the outside of him. So I got to know his ridiculousness, which I've adapted. I've got to know his inappropriateness. I've got to know a lot of parts to him that I do admire, which annoyed me before. His like desire to take risks in business, starting with coming to America with his wife and 2 kids with $500 and with a dream. He also worked a lot, and there's a lot of great things I learned about my dad. But those were all kind of like outside things, right? I never knew how he felt in this world. I never knew his inner journey. And if he had a podcast, like in the 80s, if he had, or, in the 70s when they first came to America, holy shit. If my parents had a podcast where they talk about the transition into America as, 30-something-year-olds, not knowing the language, and my mom working at like a Stop and Go, which is like a 7-Eleven, getting held up a couple times. If they had a podcast of that experience, it would be like it would be so priceless to me. I would listen to every episode, And so that's one of the reasons why I've started documenting is not just for anyone who wants to listen, but also for, speaking of family, my own daughter. I'm having a little bit of an emotional moment because as I talk about, documenting, there's a part of me that feels like I'm not growing up, And I know it's different now with social media, where social media has just become media, but I'm Gen X. I grew up with pagers, and sometimes I feel like I just play with my phone for a living, and I'm still not, quote unquote successful. I'm still not taking life seriously. And I had a moment right now where I just thought, like, are you really documenting because it's art and because it means something to you, or is that a way of hiding? I know on paper I've written, a handful of books, and I've done some stuff, and I'm super, I don't know if the word's proud, but the Sing on Purpose community, which is its own app, and I'm really, I feel like that's meaningful. I feel like that is helping so many people go deeper. But it's hard to be a quote unquote influencer. I don't really like that word, but a content creator, a podcaster, an author these days, because I don't have something on paper that tells me that I'm doing a good job. No one calls me into a room and says, hey, here's your review for the last year. Here's how many people that you've helped, impacted. Here's how many people who think you're an idiot, and here's how you can improve. That would be amazing. That would be amazing if we had our own supervisors, like every quote unquote catalyst who uses social media and write books, and do podcasts. They should have a supervisor who calls them to the office once a year and they're like, hey, we need to do a review. This is what the people are saying. You know, they want you to tan your taint less, but I've only done it once and that showed nothing. They want you to tan your taint less, and they want you to, I don't know, give more lessons on mental health, relationships, whatever. I think that would be helpful because it would give me direction, and it would make me feel like, oh, I'm getting a letter grade. I'm getting something that proves to me that I'm doing okay, or I'm being of being of value in some way. But that is just the realities of doing this kind of work. I even struggle calling it work. But anyway, because I'm in between books, and because my next book, which is going to be the final On Purpose book, it's like the box set. It's a relationship with yourself book and love. It's called Love Hard, On Purpose for now. And it's called Love Hard because back in the day, I would stencil Love Hard all over LA, 2 a.m. An ex-girlfriend was a street artist, and we would go out and just stencil Love Hard, and she would have her thing. So it became this kind of mini movement, and out of that came hoodies and stuff. And so it's a throwback to that. And so the Love Hard On Purpose, and there will be a subtitle. I want to start by saying in that book, forget everything you know about love. I think that's interesting. Also ballsy, right? Who am I to tell you what love looks like? In the book, I don't. It's more asking questions and getting you to think instead of telling you what I think about love. Although I do share all my relationships, personal relationship struggles, and what I've learned. But that's the next book, and it's not coming out until 2026. And so right now, and that's already turned in, so I don't have nothing to write. I would work on my next book, but I already turned that one in, and that is called Burning Down the House, and it's my first memoir, which is going to be more, they want more of a prescriptive memoir, of course, to make it more timeless, because this book is not coming out till 2027. And when they told me that, I was like, fuck, no one's going to care about the fires in 2027. And they said, by they I mean my publishers, we'll make it more prescriptive so it's timeless, which I'm okay with, right? So it's going to be like a hybrid of a memoir / self-help. So until 2027, I don't have anything to do as far as writing a book. I could run retreats, I could do other things, of course. And so I had this kind of like void of, like, I have all this creative energy, especially being down here, and I don't know what to do with it. And this is why I'm sitting in a golf cart, sipping coffee, and talking to you, or at least expressing to myself for 30 minutes. I'm not trying to be interesting. I'm trying to be interested, because no one cares if you're trying to be interesting. And I'm trying to be interested in this new act break of my life. I call it an act break, not a chapter. We have chapters of our lives. I will have many chapters here in Costa Rica, but the act break is different. The act break is the event in your life where the protagonist is forced to do a 180. An act break is the entering of your hero's journey. And so if I was to think about the 2 act breaks of my life, technically this is Act 3. I don't want to say that because I got a tattoo that says Act 2, and I'm not going to delete that tattoo. And also, when I say this is Act 2, it makes me feel like I'm younger than I really am. But technically, I guess this is Act 3, which makes me sad because I feel like this is the ending, closing of my life. Act 1 was my divorce. Act 2 was my rebirth. And then this is Act 3. Or is Act 1, or it was my divorce the kind of inciting incident? Was that the first 15 minutes of the movie? And maybe this is how I need to reframe it. My divorce, instead of an Act 1, I've always said it was an Act 1, but maybe not. Maybe my divorce at 35 was the inciting incident. So every movie at around 15 minutes in has an inciting incident. It's I almost said accident. Nothing's an accident. It's when you have the call to action, right? When the protagonist goes from comfortable to uncomfortable, right? When Luke Skywalker gets the call and he ventures out. And so I guess if that was my divorce, then Act 1 would be my rebirth, and then this would be Act 2. All right. Thank you for helping me with that. I feel a little bit younger. I just bought myself an entire act break of life. I was in the middle of telling you the day in the life, and I threw a boomerang. I see it coming back. So in the mornings, I feel hopeful. There's a breeze, like you're maybe hearing now. So the coffee, pour over coffee, like really good coffee, because in Costa Rica they're known for their coffee. Where we live, there is no Starbucks. It's all pour over, rich color with all the foods. So nothing processed really. I mean, yes, there's chips and shit at the market, but no McDonald's, no drive-thrus, no Grubhub, which makes, and this is probably why I'm regular now, the food that I'm putting in my body, even if it's fried, like fried plantains, it's all like cooked with different oils. There's a lot less sugar and things. I mean, it's really, really amazing. And you're forced to eat it because like there's no Taco Bell, you know? So that's been nice. That said, of course, there's treats. There's a bakery right, I could see it now. It's right across the street. And I go there often, maybe once a day, and, grab myself a little something. But also, the bakery, it's like really good stuff. It's not shitty, processed, chemically added treats. Coffee in the morning, and check my phone, emails. Childcare comes. Give my wife a kiss. Wish her well. And then I try to go to the gym. I'm used to working out around noon in LA. Taking the motorcycle there. Costa Rica, I have to work out earlier because the gym actually closes at 1. Blows my mind. And so instead of a motorcycle, getting my golf cart, taking the golf cart to the gym, worked out for about an hour. And by the way, you are drenched after a workout here because the gym is, it's technically indoors, but it's outdoors. And so you're working in humidity. You are coming out of the gym like you just took a shower, drenched, which is fine. You're wet the whole day. From the gym back to home, which is about 5.5 seconds in the golf cart. Then I jump into the pool behind me, assuming it is not swimming with tadpoles. The pool guy comes once a week and clears the pool, and it's gorgeous. As you can see, hints of it. It's just crystal blue. Take a quick pool dip, and then we have an outdoor shower. Just kind of wash off a little bit, maybe change clothes, and then I start answering questions, really plowing through emails, a few Zoom meetings. I may have a therapy session, either that I'm doing for myself or giving, right? So I put in some work, and I could work here, but I also love working at the coffee shop. They have a little air-conditioned space, which is like the size of 2 Mini Coopers. It's perfect. So I love getting out of the house. Again, 6-second ride with the golf cart. And my partner laughs because she's like, why don't you just walk? Why don't you just walk? It's like a 60-second walk. I was like, nope. I never walked in LA. I'm not walking here. So put in some work there, and it's really nice there because I know the owners. They're just cool young kids, and so there's I'm not going to a Starbucks, right? It's this coffee shop feels like Cheers, where like everyone knows your name. Very small community. And then after the work, I come back. Do the dishes, do the laundry. I look around, what do I need to do? Do I need to sweep the bat shit off the porch? And I like doing the chores here. It's very different than LA because I think part of it is just the environment where, I hand wash dishes. And there's something very meditative about that. There's something very 80s, very, before tech was injected into our lives. There's something about the simplification of washing dishes by hand. So I do these chores not because I feel like I have to here. I do them because it's just a way of life. Like there's a simplicity to it. As opposed to in the city, it felt like an obligation. We got to do the laundry. We got to do the dishes. You know, you put the dishes in the dishwasher. Here, you're downshifting. You're folding laundry and you're trying to fold each piece. I know this sounds crazy. John Kim has not lost his mind. You're trying to fold each piece of laundry the best that you can. You're trying to fold each shirt the best that you can. No, listen. This is rewiring. This is what it's about. You know, it's not just the big things. It's taking little things like doing dishes by hand, folding laundry, cooking something, right? Making a salad, pouring your pour over coffee, like whatever it is, it's intentional. I'm going to get a tattoo here, obviously, to bookmark this act break of my life. And the word, I'm going to fuck it up. It's Ser, S-E-R, Gintad, Gintud. It means to be, embody stillness. And I'm trying to inject that into everything, whether I am making love to my partner, TMI, or doing the dishes. And I think that is what's prescribed here. That is the downshift. Because if I'm not doing that, then what the fuck am I doing here other than escaping, right? And so that's what I do. And then after that, around 3 o'clock, the day's winding down. Babysitters are ready to go home. There's an activity, whatever we're going to do as a family. So maybe we go to the market. That can be a whole event, right? Get into your golf cart and drive 8 minutes. We go to the fruit stand. We could go back to the beach, right? We go somewhere else to go to a cafe. And then maybe I do a few meetings on the move, right? Sometimes I have meetings at 4 or 5, and I just do them on my phone via Zoom. And this is the best part of the day. The best part of the day so far is 6 p.m. on the dot, every day, the most magical sunset. And of course, 60 seconds from my house, right? So we all get into the golf cart, we go to the beach. And what's awesome about the sunset is you're not just looking at the sun. Everyone comes out. It's almost like it feels like group therapy. Everyone just comes out of their homes. The beaches here during the day are pretty empty except surfers. At sunset, everyone's out. The beach is packed. The sun's going down. It's a picture painted sky. Postcard. It looks like a postcard. And the water's, 75 degrees, so you're putting your foot in the water and just looking at all these people observing the sunset. It's a collective reset. It's a collective timeout. It's a collective, hey, let's just sit and enjoy nature and life before we get back to our life. It's one of those things. And it's every day. That's what they do. I have a friend who lives in Portugal, and he says the sunsets are also like that. It's a ritual. People clap. No one's applauding here, but people are engaging. They're being social. It's the kind of sunset where you pull up a chair and have a Corona, which I plan to do, some of these sunsets. And so that has become an anchor. That has become my favorite part of this whole Costa Rica experience so far, is the sunset at 6 p.m. Also, for the nervous system, oh my God. It's just, your nervous system is just being held. I don't know if you can panic at 6 p.m. in Costa Rica, where I'm at on the beach, during a sunset. It's impossible to panic. It's a very somatic experience. The warm water on your feet, the visual of perfect waves, community, the gorgeous sunset, and then the feeling of just perfect weather, right? Like 75, gentle breeze. It's a safe tree for your nervous system. It's touching a safe tree for your nervous system. So after a day of playing tag, we go there. After the sunset, come home. It gets dark fast here. By 6:15, it's pitch black. There are no street lights, right? So bath time, reading books, and reading Logan books, and putting her to bed. And then after that, Now, if we can put her to bed before, I don't know, 8:30, then we do have like an hour or so where we can drink some tea, chat, have some time with your partner, maybe get intimate, wind down, watch something on Netflix, that kind of thing, like an hour or so, and then we go to bed. And so that has been the day in the life here. What I'm realizing about life here is it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. And I think that's the other thing that's been really like medicine. I'm having a moment I want to share with you real quick. There's a tree in front of me I'm looking at. And oh my God. So at our house that burned down, we had a tree. It's like a perfect, beautiful round tree. I called it the big fish tree. And I wake up every morning and I drink my coffee, open the garage, and before I went into work, I would just stare at this tree. And I didn't notice this, but right now, as I'm doing this episode, I'm looking up and I'm seeing this tree. Check out this tree. This tree is, if you can see it, it's another big fish tree. It's a perfect tree. It's about the size of the one that was in Altadena, which, by the way, survived the fire. And some can call it coincidence, but these are little, I'm calling them signs. There's a big fish tree right in front of this house. A nod from the universe is the way that I'm looking at it, as I'm trying to live a life where I want to see things that my eyes can't see, right? I mean, in this case, I literally see it, but put meaning on things and connect dots, that we usually ignore because we're so logical. Okay, well, thank you for listening. That was a day in the life of me here so far, and of course, things may change, of course. But right now, that's a day in the life, and my biggest takeaway is it's not what you do here. It's the intention and how you show up in what you do, right? That's going to leave the imprint. It isn't the actual action of doing something, which is very different than in the city, because I think in the city, it's a lot of like, what are you doing? What are you getting done? Who you're hanging out with? What's the activity? Is it a fancy dinner? Is it like, what are the things to do? I don't think in LA a lot of people are doing anything just because of the chaos and what's happening. A lot of people staying in homes or making an exodus right now. But here, it's less about what you do, and it's all about how you go into whatever it is that you're doing. My question for you, I always try to end on a question. No matter where you're living, no matter where you're at in your life, ask yourself if that's the turning of the dial. So going from what am I doing, right? And also under the umbrella of what am I doing, like what am I getting done? Where am I going in life? What am I, like the productivity thing. If you turn the dial from what am I doing to, sorry, another motorcycle. Lots of motorcycles, lots of mopeds. Instead of what are you doing, how are you going into these days? What is your intention? What is your mindset? This doesn't mean to be lazy. This doesn't mean to not execute on your dreams, right? I am in Aries. It's baked in me. I'm very ambitious. That's not going to go away. But it's also not going to run my life, And so how am I going into things? So it could be a conversation with a friend, or it could be a full project. It could be a book. It could be lunch. It could be doing the dishes. It could be working out. Not what are you doing? How are you going into what you're doing? Thank you for listening. Be well.